Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Unique.
Are we live right now?
We are recording for the good people of the
Oh,
world.
nice.
Unique,
Okay.
New York. Unique, New York. The Human Torch acquired a bank loan today. How now, brown cow? The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. You guys got any? Those are my go-tos. I always ask our guests, but nobody's got any vocal cues. I don't even have vocal cues or vocal practices. I'm not a speech, trainer. You guys are already frozen, so this is a good start. This is good. It's a good start, everybody. Should be an interesting show. We'll give everybody another minute or two here to hop on. It says we're streaming. Can't seem to figure out. Oh, internet connection is unstable. Wouldn't you know? No surprises there. Welcome to the middle of nowhere. OBS disconnected, reconnecting. Oh, son of a gun! Why is it, everybody tells me, JD, you gotta buy better internet. JD, you gotta do this. Well, when the show starts making more money, then I'll buy better. But until then,
There you go.
I'll just get rolling. All right, I think I've given enough people enough time. Our Twitch stream, I think, says JJ time, but I gotta fix that. We'll do that later. So, anyways, without further ado, welcome back, shooters, for a Team Handball Thursday edition of Shootin' Straight, a handball podcast with JD and Joey. Well, just JD tonight. We are joined by special guests, Dylan Pichon. Did I pronounce that right? I've actually never said your last name. So
Perfect.
all right. And
That was perfect.
Good. And beneath Dylan, if you can see our screen, is Kevin Gruzinski. I'm pretty sure that's spoken correctly. Is it Polish? I've never asked.
Sometimes.
All right. Is Pichon French?
It's actually Belgian. I did a free trial on my
23andMe?
ancestry.com. I just went hard for like 2 hours straight and got back to like 1800s. I was like, yeah, I'm done. But
Jeez.
yeah, Belgian.
Did you give like your DNA or anything like that, or do you just kind of traced your parents?
I just kind of it could be all wrong. Who knows?
Yeah.
But from what I got, it's Belgian. But
okay, interesting. Yeah. I always ask people about that because I don't know if you guys follow big serial killers. I'm a big serial killer hunter, but there was a guy, a Golden State Killer. He had like a cousin or a distant relative that did a 23andMe, and then they used their DNA to basically link it to the Golden State Killer. So it helped solve I think it was 17 murders or something like that. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. So for all you guys that think your family members might be killers, make sure to get your DNA taken and help close those cases. That's what we're out here to do. So for those of you who obviously are new to the show, ignore that first couple minutes there about me on my quest to find all the serial killers. Look beneath my face for today's topics. That's that. So we'll just get right into it. Dylan, why don't you tell our listeners who you are and maybe why you're on the show. So unless Kevin wants to go first, but I feel like Kevin's always second.
Dylan Pichon's my name, of course. So I went to Illinois State and started my handball career there. I knew going into college I wanted to be involved in some type of sport. I played football as a freshman in high school, and I played tennis as a senior in high school. So it's kind of all over the place.
Covered the spectrum.
So I knew I wanted to either do tennis, or I saw that they had a handball team as well, like a club team. And I know I saw it on the Olympics a couple times. I'm like, it might be a fun sport to try. So ended up picking handball, and it was the best decision of my life.
Wow,
so that's my and why I'm on here. It's because big fan of JD. This podcast is going places. So very very honored to be on here
Cool,
now.
cool. You're fans of Joey too, so this it's a mutual.
Oh,
Joey.
Joey's not here. So
I should clarify, everybody, that Joey could not be with us here. He's with us in spirit. He is studying for some law finals or midterms, or I don't know. So it's always good to have a lawyer in your back pocket. So we're all supporting Joey in his quest for legal power. So, anyways, Kevin.
Oh, I went to Illinois State with them. My roommate and me were just walking around, and this guy comes up to us with like a list with a bunch of clubs. My roommate saw Handball on there, and he's like, "Well, like, let's go check it out." He was so excited for it. So I said, "Like, why don't you go check it out, and I'll see what happens." He came back so excited about it after the first practice, and that's where I decided to go to a few practices. Met Dylan. We played for a year at Illinois State. Then I started playing with Chicago Inter, and me and Joey actually played in Denmark together for a little bit. Now I'm back here.
There's some heat already in the chat, so I believe Jordan's calling you a nerd, but we'll keep that in the chat. Tell us a little bit about your Danish experience. I know Joey's probably talked about it a couple times on our show here, but you probably have a different take than he does since you're playing in the field and he's just standing between the pipes.
Like Joey's like talked about Denmark for me, just like a whole different handball experience, like a whole. The really cool part about us being in Denmark was meeting a bunch of famous handball athletes, which we don't get to experience here.
Yeah, I'd say like we're pretty much the peak of famous American handball athletes. So that's you met them all here, folks. They've already been on the show. So, but yeah, that's true. That's true. Dylan, I know you're probably not as well traveled as Kevin with handball, but where's the furthest that you've had to go for a tournament?
Yeah, so I would say, probably, it has to be North Carolina for college nationals, which is like a 16-hour road trip from Illinois. So it was always, the thought of going to college nationals was awesome. Of course, being there was awesome, but the road trip wasn't always the best part. And us being college kids, we can't go for plane tickets and stuff like that. So it's just, we pack up as much as we can in the car, keep it cheap, and go play some handball.
So I'm not sure who Wade Foxy is here, but he wants me to explain to these losers why handball is better than lacrosse. It's tough for me. I can't, as a lacrosse player. Kevin, you didn't play lacrosse, right? Okay, all right. So Joey's not on here, but I'm not gonna touch that one because I'm one who shoots straight. That's the name of the podcast. I'm not gonna BS that. I'll come out and admit that lacrosse I actually enjoy playing more than handball. As shocking as that may be for all of America, I know it probably upsets a lot of people.
Maybe you should just start a lacrosse podcast, man.
Yeah, should jump ship on all this business and go out on top, because we're really at the peak here.
This is actually the last episode, so
it's tough because like lacrosse, you have I don't know. There's a little bit more going on. You can hit people with a giant stick. It's kind of nice. So you don't get to do that in handball, but you still get to hit people. I think the shooting aspect of lacrosse and handball are pretty similar. Like it's a similar like level of like, I don't know, thrill and like satisfaction when you get just like a nice ripper. You guys get to shoot way more than I do. I'm not allowed to play the field. So Kevin's shot, for those of you who've never seen Kevin play, it's terrifying. It's very fast, out of control, and will literally rip your face off.
The best advice as a shooter was at our last tournament we were at. And because I wanted to score on you so much.
Yeah.
And he was just like, throw it as hard as you can and not try to place it. Just throw it hard.
Just terrifying.
Like, I guess it makes sense because he doesn't know where it's going to go. And you don't know where it's going to go. So it works out.
Yeah. which it ended up you scoring, at the end of the game. So
Yeah, 1 for 6 or something like that against you.
It's what it is. Why don't you guys talk a little bit about this past weekend? Most people probably don't even know that we had a game or games. Everybody played. Who did you guys play with? Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about that and how that came to be, I guess.
Yeah, Kevin, you want to start off, and I'll
always go second.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Kevin!
All right, so we played with Milwaukee this past weekend, in Detroit. So it was actually my first time playing in 2 years, and I know I just wanted to play handball, and I messaged Ryan Peterson, who is the top guy at Milwaukee, and
the Godfather.
Messaged him about a month ago. I was like, hey, if there's and I just told him, I was like, if you have any tournaments or you need players, let me know, because I'm definitely down to come travel and play with you guys. So I was lucky enough that a couple weeks later that he messaged me, and he was like, hey, we're going to play in Detroit, and if you want to join, you definitely can. He's like, Kevin's going to be joining us too. And I mean, he had me right at when Kevin was coming. I was like, I got to go. So went there, and it was just nice to get, back into that handball feeling. I mean, obviously I got beat up pretty hard in my return to handball, but it doesn't matter. I had a great time. Got to see people who haven't seen in a long time too. That the handball community just connects you with a lot of people. So
very true, very true. Why don't you show the viewers here a little bit of your injury from this weekend?
Sure. So got a little sling on. I had the pivot from your team, JD, hit me like a middle linebacker.
He's a big boy.
On the side of my, big dude. And it was actually on the play where I do my traditional, the jump fake shot where 4 people jumped up.
He had him. The whole defense was in the air.
Yeah, I didn't score because I quickly learned that defense in that type of environment instead of a college one is quicker.
Yes.
He got to me fast and hit me pretty hard. I just knew something wasn't right after that, but I didn't really feel the pain until it was all over.
Yeah. There's a lot of comments in the chat right now asking about what the worst injury that you guys have had in handball has been. So, Kevin, you got have you had any injuries, Kevin?
I have
fatigue is not an injury. Oh, jeez. Wing life.
He's not an old guy like us.
Yeah, exactly.
I had to say something.
Well, Dylan, is there something worse than your shoulder?
This, and then I tore ligaments in my pinky as well.
I remember that.
That wasn't bad.
Yeah. You had a claw thing, or your whole hand was taped up.
It had metal in it, and we weren't supposed to use metal, but I was like, I got to use it. So I just taped it up with white tape too. I'm like, no, I just taped up a regular brace. Good to go.
Good. Yeah, I've had a whole slew of injuries. I don't think I've talked about this one on the podcast, but we were at York for the 2015 Open Nationals, which those of you that are unfamiliar with York, Pennsylvania, it's pretty much in the middle of the state, in the middle of nowhere. Pennsylvania's a pretty boring state. People hate on Iowa, but I don't know. Pennsylvania's pretty rough. There's at least hills, but it is tough. But we're playing, and we're playing against Air Force, who we already kind of had a little rivalry with, because every time we played Air Force, we'd always lose by 1 or 2 kind of thing, and it was just very frustrating. And it's different times back then, different times. Their big pivot is on a fast break, and I come out maybe to 4-ish meters inside, in the 6 still, and I kind of do a butterfly jump up thing, and he just runs right through me, and I hit, and that whole tournament, it was on sport court, but there was only concrete underneath the sport court, so it was basically like playing on concrete, and I don't know, I hit the ground, and I'm not sure what happened. I I couldn't stand up. I like was borderline, felt like I was like paralyzed, like I had to like crawl. Like nobody helped me off the court. I legit crawled, like army crawled off the court.
That's just the handball nature, though.
Yeah.
Small people are just like,
Yeah, it's just like, oh, the goalie's just laying back there. Like, nope, it's all good. So I crawled off the court.
JD.
Yeah, and I couldn't. It hurt so bad to sit down. Like I could not sit down the whole rest of the weekend. I like basically like just laid down wherever I was. Like it was. I went back, got back home. We took the RV out there, of course, the handball bus, and I could ride, at least laying down the way home. But we went to the doctor, did, MRI, did x-rays, nothing. And I was like, this is so frustrating. And so that one was pretty rough. But, goalie, you get hit in the face.
So what was hurting exactly?
My butt. It was like my tailbone. So there was a lot of jokes. A lot of jokes there. We'll keep this PG for the kids, But yeah, so that was bad. I've broke my thumb right now. My pinky's kind of jacked up. I had a wrist problem. Currently behind my knee. So I was like helping out the national team in Sweden, and I was giving the goalie a break, so I stepped in and I just did stretch, and then I think I overextended something in my leg, and then I had an 8-hour flight back. Or I had like 27 hours of journey back from Sweden, and my leg like just basically still, that was in January, it still hurts. So I went to the doctor again. I thought I was having like blood flow problems, like I was having what's that called, blood clot. I thought I was getting a blood clot, and I was freaking out that I was going to die. And nope, it was fine. So a whole bunch of just random stuff like that. So good question in the chat there. That's good. That's a good little tangent. Kevin, what was your recap of the weekend? Because you kind of saved the day. You were really like, the Caped Crusader, a watchful protector, a dark knight.
My goal, ball, and because I just know it's just gonna go past you.
Yeah.
I just had to get the ball in my hands and been fine. So just a couple goals short.
I think for me,
I thought it was a good strategy.
It is, and me as a goalie, there's two secrets, and I'm not afraid to tell everybody that, because everybody that knows me already knows. There's two ways to score on me.
Go ahead.
5-hole every time. You're gonna score every single time, 5-hole, and 2, left-handed.
Well, I tried that. Kevin told me that before the.
Left-handed. So if you're left-handed, it's like some mental block with me. Like I just see it. It doesn't look right. If I know you're right-handed and you switch to left-handed, I don't care if it's going 2 miles an hour. It is going to walk right into the goal. So Dylan, those are some tips. Next time, since I guess your left shoulder is the one that's jacked up. So.
Yeah, well, Kevin told me that 5-hole was your weakness, so I tried to go there like 3 times, and you blocked it every single time.
Yours was you were like falling, and it wasn't like a perfectly executed 5-hole. Like I'm talking like it's got to be like right at my feet, not like where the angles line up so I can hit it because I got some meaty thighs, so they take up some space, but you got to hit right between. Well, Jordan's saying short side upper left, so yeah, anything around my face I'm also gonna let go in, so just throw it right at my face. That'll work. So there's 3 spots to score. What, Kevin?
My first shot I took on you is right next to your.
Yeah, I'm letting that in every time, especially from you. That's too. There's like guys that I practice against that it's not even fun. Like I know I need to give them like a good show for their own practice, but I'm like it's not worth the danger of me trying to stop this shot. Like I don't wear a cup for practice. Like it's real casual for me, and then they come out there like just chucking these like 60, 70 mile an hour heaters, maybe, I don't know, faster. I've never had it clocked, but I should get a fake radar gun. Joey, if you actually end up listening to this, you need a fake radar gun for our next games. So, have you ever been
When
clocked,
me and
Kevin?
Joey were what?
Have you ever been clocked?
Yeah, so me and Joey were in Denmark at the World Championships. They actually had a radar gun. Like they had like an area. There's like a bunch of handball games you can mess around. They had a handball like radar gun there, which I don't remember what I threw at, but I was like we were able to get clocked.
And you don't remember what it was?
No, it was somewhere around the 60s and 70s.
All right, I would believe that from you. I can believe that. People are like, oh, it's slow. It's like, well, handball's literally 3 and some change times heavier than a baseball. So, yeah, it's pretty wild.
And you're essentially just throwing with your fingertips too, especially if you stick them, which I was not prepared for. But we made it work.
I just showed Dylan like how you hold the handball with glue on before the game.
Had you ever played with stickum before that? Probably like once.
Yeah, like we played like in Chicago, I think twice, tournaments there. But like in college, I mean, anywhere you go, you can't use it.
Yep.
So I'm just used to like really just gripping the handball.
Grip
once Kevin showed me how to do it, like it was a lot better that way. But then my skin started peeling off my fingers, so I was like, well, I can't even throw now. Every time I put tape, that starts to slip off.
Yeah, nobody put the tape on correctly. I was just picking up, finger tapes like left and right.
It was
both
me taping
games.
Myself, so that was probably the issue.
I mean, people were going through tape like crazy. And I'm like, this is, there's barely any stickum on it. Like you left, Dylan, but in the Detroit game, Wrecker and Mike King and Devin, they just put a whole big gob of stickum on there, and they're just cake. I mean, you just hear.
Yeah, that's my nightmare, dude.
And the other team's like, guys, like, come on, and their Record's like, dude, like you asked to play with stickum, like this is the amount that I'm used to playing with, so it was pretty funny. They were not happy. They had to change. They changed the ball. Yeah, it would be. You don't need to touch it. You don't need to touch it. But they changed the ball and it was bad. It was bad. We got Wade Foxy and Jordan are real popular in the chat. I like it. Wade Foxy wants to know, what professional athlete, not handball, would you want on your team, and what would their skill sets bring to the table? The old $1 million handball question. I'll let it stand, but
how about Kevin? You go first on this one.
I don't even know any app.
That's the spirit, Kevin.
I'm trying to think. I feel like in handball, from my experience, like finding a really good left back. That's why I was pissed when Kevin left ISU. Just finding someone who's tall, like athletic, and can throw left-handed. I just don't know who throws left-handed as an athlete. I guess there's like one quarterback now.
Yeah, but he's got a bad hip. You don't want that.
I don't know. I was honestly like, let's just put Anthony Davis at pivot. Just see what happens.
All right, I can run with that, Kevin. I don't know if I put him at pivot, but
I don't anybody. I think hockey would be to pick somebody that like
a European background.
What?
With like a European background too, so they might know the rules.
Yeah, I'm thinking like the aggressiveness they play, and I think they control their bodies very well, which would help us in handball.
The only problem I've seen with getting hockey guys to transition to handball is sometimes their footwork isn't the best just because they're used to skating. So it's a little, sometimes, I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes there's a little bit of a learning curve there. It's like water polo to get in their land legs kind of thing. But Jordan's saying,
what about you, JD?
For me, it's not even like a fun conversation for me anymore. Like everybody, like it's the question that always comes up, and it's like it's never gonna. I shouldn't say it's never gonna happen, but we won't know until somebody actually does it, you know. And you got people like the Cam Newtons in their prime, obviously a LeBron. Like you can't tell me you don't see a full court pass from LeBron and you're like, that seems that it seems to work. Like I think he could throw a ball. You know, you got some outfielders in baseball. Kevin's point about hockey's on point. Football guys, I try to like stay away from just because like you watch like I don't know. I always remember like anybody that was like not a quarterback try to throw a football and it's just like Uncle Rico style.
Yeah,
so I try to like stay away from football guys, but baseball guys aren't used to the contact. They're used to like having crow hop, so they don't know how to jump throw unless they play shortstop. Lacrosse guys are used to the contact. They're used to shooting, and they can throw the ball. That's my personal bias. Similar kind of thing with hockey, but now you're doing a little different, you know, style of arm movement. Tennis is actually not terrible. We got a couple guys that played tennis on our OSU team that are surprisingly good. Not really sure why, but yeah, there's a lot of people.
It kind of works out for me.
Yeah. Jordan actually says that Mitch is the next handball star. Who is Mitch? Is that your brother?
What are you talking about? No, Mitch Trubisky.
Oh, jeez.
Horrible pick.
Oh, so you saw my tweet then? I tweeted that. I tweet somebody every time there's like some NFL like send in your questions for the week. I'll always be like, oh, so it's time for Mitch Trubisky to take on handball, and you throw enough darts at the wall, one of them's eventually going to hit a bullseye. So I don't know. It's meaningless for me. I don't really care. It's very simple, but yeah, all good questions. All good questions. So as you guys saw, we have our 10-minute buzzer, so we got another couple questions here before we hit our commercial break. We actually have some pretty decent viewership, so thank you to everybody that's tuned in so far. So one thing that I want to recap from this past weekend in Detroit, was that Kevin stepped in a huge way because we had a bit of a refereeing debacle, and one of your guys' former teammates, Andrew Moore, was refereeing, and he claims that he'd never refereed a game before, and I swear that I'd seen him ref at least one game at OSU at some point. Maybe I'm crazy, but he said that he'd never refereed. So Kevin agreed with me, but I don't know.
So what happened?
Well, exactly what you'd think from someone that's never refereed a game, and then his partner had refereed one game before, and that was probably the worst refereeing experience I've had in my entire handball career. So Kevin
it wasn't the best.
Yeah. Well, you guys had Josh, which is a whole nother conversation. Josh is, in the learning mix for referees, so he's kind of he wants to be on that pathway. So
he's reffed a couple like tournaments that I've played in a couple years ago. So no, I thought Josh did a good job given the circumstances, because it's a small court too. So
true, and I think Joey wanted like 3 and 4 referees, which also made it kind of weird. But at least from a refereeing standpoint. So, anyways. Halftime of the Detroit-Dublin game, Kevin comes in off the stands and refereed the second half to make sure that what was already a testy game kind of calmed down a little bit. So, everybody owes Kevin, because it was getting heated. We had a benches clearing situation, which was wild. You don't see that too often in handball, but we had a situation where Dublin Drunks owner, operator, manager, and starting left wing Jeb Hochter was taking a charge, and there was no charge called. It was a pretty evident charge. And so on the subsequent 9-meter startup, Jeb went at him like Oklahoma drills, like the guy just gets the ball, and Jeb just full sprint at him from like 6 to like 10 or 11 meters. This dude was terrified. I don't know that Jeb actually hit him. I think he fell before Jeb did, so it made it look really bad. But they only gave him a yellow card, and I was like, okay, all right, well.
Oh my god.
I don't know. It was, and then at that point, like Jeb's like standing over top of him, like not like he wasn't like trying to be like, oh yeah, boy. He was just like, you're gonna come at me, I'll come at you, and like he's like getting up off the top of him, and the whole Detroit bench is literally like right in his grill, and we're like, guys, like, oh my gosh, let's calm down here. So
yeah, that sucks that I left.
Yeah, it was an entertaining match, I think, and that's really what Joey and I are going for, is the entertainment value. Really trying to sell. Who cares? That scoreboard was a little wonky at times, refereeing was a little here and there. What you get on the court was wild, and that's what people come to see. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was like it being a short court too. You're guaranteed to have a lot of goals, so it's just interesting for everybody watching too.
Yeah, just bang, 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 bang. So yeah, it was an exciting weekend. We didn't stick around for grill time, which was frustrating because last time we had this whole ordeal because Max is Jewish, so he couldn't eat any of the foods. So we had to go to Wendy's. Well, we spent an hour at Wendy's because frickin' Wendy's in Detroit don't know how to... And then this is true again because, they said, JD, we can't stay here. We can't get this, free food that Joey and the rest of the Detroit guys have prepared for us. We got to go to Wendy's. And I'm like, I'm not taking this RV to Wendy's. That's just... They're like, just go through the drive-thru. I'm like, no, we're not taking the RV through the drive-thru. So, like any dad with his kids that are all complaining, we get in the bus, we don't get any free food, we go to Wendy's, wouldn't you know, an hour later we leave Wendy's because RV doesn't fit in the drive-thru, the inside is closed, so nobody can order anything because we don't have a car to go through the drive-thru. I had them like try to make a human car, we didn't weigh enough. They ordered on the app. The app says, go to the drive-thru window to pick it up. So then we go to the drive-thru window, and the dude's like, you're not in a car? I'm not giving you this food. Oh my gosh, it was an ordeal. I was so ticked. And then we had...
Like you literally wanted to bring this RV by the window.
Yeah. Like there's nobody else at Wendy's. Like, we just ordered like $60 worth of Wendy's. Like, come outside. We're sitting right here. Oh my goodness. But we didn't get home then till 1 in the morning. So it was rough. Did you get... I probably should have texted you. You probably beat us back.
Probably.
So, anyways, I think this is a good stopping point for our commercial break here. If you guys are cool with that. Is everybody good?
That works for me.
All right. Let me hit the transition. I'm going to end this soon, and you guys just jump right back. All right. Oh, boy. Anyways, so hope everybody's having a good time so far on the show. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors, which are you guys, for tuning in, subscribing to us on Twitch. That's where we make a good bit of our bucks here to help support the call, support the show, support our lives. If you just go on to your Amazon Prime account, go to Prime Gaming and link your Twitch and Amazon Prime accounts, you get 1 free subscription a month. If you use that subscription to subscribe to us, we get $2.50 per month, which is awesome for us. We can do a lot of good in the handball community with that. We're already starting to see the dividends from all you top viewers out there. Shout out to our top shooters, Mishi, Martin, and CJ. Those are, I think, some of our top shooters. So I think we're going to have, maybe after this show, we might have gained some more. That's what we like to see. So I'm all about getting more shooters on the show. So if you're ever interested in coming on, we're always looking for new people. We got a nice show lined up for Sunday, so we're excited about that. We got to do a little camera switcheroo here because Kevin got on before Dylan did. So give me 1 second. Yep, I know. God bless America.
I screwed up.
Yep, you weren't fast enough. So that's how the cookie crumbles, kids. Anyways, as always, our sponsors, Theramu, for all your CBD needs, and they help sponsor the Columbus Armada. And KT Tape, our unofficial sponsor that gives us tape. I'm not supposed to give them any shout outs, but I always like to because I'm a big fan of KT Tape. I actually spent some time with some physical therapists at a wedding recently, and they told me it's not entirely proven that it's snake oil, so I'm buying it. Well, I'm not buying it because I'm sponsored by them. So anyways, that's enough rambling for me. It looks like our friends are back.
We're back.
We're back. Yep. So thanks guys for jumping back on for the second half of the show. You know, we can go as long as you want. We can go as short as you want. Kind of the topics, we almost already covered most of them, but let's just get to the first one I think we did not cover, which is why are you guys still playing handball after college?
Kevin, you want me to go again first? Follow up, or you go?
Never stop playing.
That's the spirit, Kevin. That's the spirit.
I think people out of their state, they don't have a handball club in their state anymore, but they want to keep playing handball, obviously, so they just start their own club.
In what example would you say that's happened? Because I'm unfamiliar with that situation.
Well, we can kind of use you as an example, as you graduated Ohio, so you started a alumni team.
Fair.
He's a guy who played for Houston and ended up moving to, I think, Nashville.
Oh, yeah.
And he's for a Nashville team now.
That's true. They actually started practice, I think, last week. So I'm excited because we're, if Nashville gets started up, I'm working on a project in Lexington area, which is Kentucky. So, you know, we could have Columbus, a couple teams in Columbus, Cincinnati, Lexington, Detroit, Nashville. We're going to get this nice little I-75 corridor kind of thing. So it's going to be nice. I'm excited. We're working on a team in Dayton as well. Still working on the name. I'm kind of pushing for the Dayton Gems. Got some guys at work that are helping me with some drawings. They want drawing out some logos and things like that. Dayton Aviators, that's what they want. They want something, and that their thing is a big Top Gun theme. So every game, free aviators for all the fans. So I don't know. I kind of like it, but obviously free knockoff aviators. We're not made of money.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Dylan, what about you? Why keep putting yourself and your body at risk?
I don't know. It's just like a sport that I fell in love with. I guess like growing up, I mean, I was like semi-athletic. I was never really like super good at something. Like, I'm decent at basketball, decent at tennis. I can play football, but like handball, I kind of found my fit there. And I mean, of course, like there's still so much to my game that I can build, but I don't know. It's just a fun thing to be in such like a small community too. And I think it's a lot about like making the friends and, making these connections too, that still allows me to travel with different clubs and play.
Yeah.
So the sport itself, and then also just the community too.
My big selling point to, people like you guys and other people getting on now is that the way I see it is that this is an opportunity to be a part of a new sport to America, and there's not many sports that have that opportunity to make a true splash like handball could. It's one of those things that if we document stuff now correctly, it'll be in the history books for ages, and they'll have the handball films. You used to watch NFL films like, in the frozen tundra of Green Bay, we saw the Packers take on so-and-so. And it's like, oh, yeah, like Bart Starr threw 5 touchdowns that day. Probably didn't because they didn't throw the football like that back then. But anyways, it's it's like we could have those stories that live on, and that's why I wish that there were more people kind of on the media side, just more people like John Ryan that are writing articles about all this stuff. If we had a game like this weekend, like if I was Joey, I would have had a full recap press release. Like, he's doing such a good job of trying to like be Jackie Moon and make this an event that people want to come to. But there needs to be a little more follow up so that it's always going and it just keeps going. And yes, I am part of Joey's operation, so I should be helping Joey. So that's Joey. I apologize, but. We need help. So if you're anybody out there that's listening, you want to help, you want to write articles, you want to take pictures, you want to make video clips, you want to do this, that, the other. There's so much potential, so much need for help. Joey and I are just 2 guys with a microphone. I actually have a microphone. Joey doesn't have a microphone. We're just 2 guys with computers trying to make a difference out here. So, sorry. You were saying something, Kevin?
You can let your rant go over, JD.
Real passionate tonight.
Joey was talking about after the tournament how he was going to make a highlight tape and a couple of things, try and get some video footage of the games out there.
His video guy's awesome. I don't know if you guys have seen any of the stuff they've done, but like I get hyped. Like it's on a college football level video, creation, and I don't know what he's paying him, but it's not enough. And I'm real thankful for that guy. And I told Joey, I was like, he's next on the pod. Like, he's coming on. Because, it's why? Like I've had guys come out, they video it. They're like, okay, this is, all right, cool. Thanks for the invite. Thanks for the, $200. Like, cool, man. It's like, I don't know. Like, maybe I'm just really passionate and I see the potential with handball. But, like, if you were somebody in the like media realm that you could have like full control of a sport, like you could have full coverage just by yourself, like I feel like that'd be pretty cool. You travel around
like,
at different events.
The whole marketing is in one person's hand. They can just create whatever they want with it.
Yeah, and that's where John Ryan, he's Team Handball News. Like that's it. Like he has the Team Handball News. Like he has like Team Handballs, his like all his social media tags. Like how was that available? Like he just took it because it was just sitting there. So I mean it's genius, it's just crazy. So it's just something that I see there's a lot of potential with handball, and that's where I want to know what you guys see as what's next for handball. You see how I did that, the segue for the next topic? Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. No rush. I'll let you guys digest.
Oh,
Yeah.
JD, I was gonna. Oh, go ahead, Kevin. Sorry.
JD sparked my interest in what's next for handball. I'm starting to be a physical education teacher, and so what I want to be next is a high school league that I can be a part of, or I can coach it. Yeah.
Done. I mean, where are we talking? You're talking Chicago?
Yep.
Are you gonna be
Ross in my back pocket to help me out?
Good. Are you gonna be part of
It's
Craig's
always a
army?
good resource.
You gotta shoot straight on the show here, Kevin.
Dylan's turn.
Oh, well, right. Thanks, Kevin.
Jeez.
So, I don't know. I just don't feel like I'm in a good position. Like, I'd like to be more involved with handball, but like I said, like that was my first time playing in over 2 years. I would like to become like an official, like USATH referee. I think that would be a good first step.
Okay.
Just for me personally. But when it comes to like growing the game itself, I mean, it's kind of a tough spot to be in, especially just being in like the USA, because there's so many sports that one can play growing up. In Europe, let's just say like soccer and handball is probably number 2 over there in terms of popularity. Maybe basketball might fight that as well. But yeah, it's just really like finding and gaining interest to people, because like if I didn't go to Illinois State, I would never
Yeah.
play handball. Like
Wouldn't
it's just
be here.
I think it's having that exposure in college and like Kevin was saying, the high school level, and hopefully we can get even to like middle school too. But I mean, it's going to be a long process. But of course, I don't have the expertise in what's gonna be next for handball. But I think we have, yourself included, have a good group of people who can help push that along.
Couple things here. Thing one, Dylan, are you still working with the Colorado Rapids? Is that where you were at? Weren't you?
No. So I moved. Yeah, I moved back to
Okay, so
Illinois.
when you moved
Uh,
back, that was the end of that. I wasn't sure if you were just moving back and still working for them.
Oh yeah, because I was actually involved with a team in Colorado, a handball team over there, but it just wasn't you know put together well. The guy who ran it, obviously he was
Blake.
doing the best job he could, but it was just, I don't know, and it ended up just folding anyway.
He said he spent a
The end
lot
of
of money
that.
on it, which I was kind of, it was sad. Like, I felt really bad.
Really?
Yeah, he said he, like, lost, like, $1,500 or something. And I was like,
I didn't know that. I went
jeez,
to like three
man.
practices, I think, and then,
So, anyways, so your experience with a professional sports organization, like working with MLS, like you have kind of that like sports mentality and a little background on that, so that's valuable experience that we can carry over to somewhere with handball. And I think getting into the referee world as well, like there's a lot of referees needed, and like we said when we had Rafa on a couple weeks ago, if you start becoming a referee now, we need referees for LA 2028. So while you may not make the national team, you could become a referee at the Olympics. So,
oh yeah, no way. National team that's a long gone hope for me. But referee, that's something that's manageable. That
yeah.
that could happen.
Table worker, timekeeper, scorekeeper, like all those jobs need to be filled. And I'm sure by the time 2028 comes around, everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, I want to be it. Let me do it. Come on, hey, pick me." But no, like if you start putting in like serious work and reaching out to like people like Mike in Alberta that run a pretty legit operation and show your kind of resume of like other high level handball events that you've worked at, like I think that'll bode well. So that's a good idea. It's good.
Yeah, I think it's just really finding that starting point too, and that's something we can talk about after the podcast too. Just kind of like getting my toes into the water, like how to become official, like officially certified and all that.
It's pretty straightforward. I'll explain to you right now. So you take a test, and then you go to a tournament where one of the other referees is going to be at, and they'll like critique you on a game, and that's pretty much it. So it's pretty
Easy as
easy.
that.
So I mean, Kevin, are you certified ref?
I think I am.
That's the spirit.
For the
Just believe in yourself. You can be whatever you believe in.
Midwest League, I know I'm certified, but
Okay, so like you're like
I feel like it's a different certification process.
yeah, I think not much, but I think they are different. So Kevin, if you're gonna start this, do you already know where you're gonna be in Chicago? At what high school? Like what suburb? Are you gonna be in a suburb? Or are you gonna be like South Side Chicago?
Right now, I'm living in the suburb,
Okay.
but who knows what happened in the.
All right, because I'm all for this. Like, I think this is great. Like, you got to go after them. You got to sell them like state championship patches. Like, I will. You tell Ross right now. Like, we're buying Illinois state champ like letter jacket patches. Like handball. It doesn't matter if there's not another team in Illinois. Like, just get them the patch. Like, that'll be enough. They go around at school. They're wearing the varsity jacket. Like, yeah, state champs in handball.
I mean,
What's up?
Illinois club did beat or won a championship in Ohio on your own turf. It was kind of a cool situation.
Mm-hmm.
Bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just talking about an Illinois club coming into your home state and winning a championship.
I can show our little. Let me show the intermission here, so I can. So for everybody, for what Dylan's referring to here is in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Dylan is holding our little tiny trophy, also known as the Buckeye Fall Classic Trophy, where the Redbirds came in and took care of business. It was a shocking tournament. They came out, they played well, they utilized the pivot very well. That's something that most teams at the college level and even the club level in the U.S. just don't have a pivot who don't know how to. A, they don't have a pivot who knows how to play the game, and B, a pivot that are players who know how to pass to said pivot. So Dom was a force to be reckoned with, and he made a huge difference in that game.